Oh yeah, there was one other quick one. This is the last one before I go today. Something else I read over the weekend, and I'd just like your thoughts on it. I mean, I'd like your thoughts on lots of things, but nobody's commenting. Come on, comment. There's not many watching, but comments make it all worthwhile. Yeah, it's regarding the mother, and I'm sorry that I'm not on the ball here. I've got no names, and I don't know the names. I could have wrote them down, but I've not done. But many of you will know what it's all about, or who I'm speaking about. Seen a piece in the paper over the weekend. Don't know if anybody else read it, about the mother that shot a kid. A kiddie stabbed another kid in a fight. I think two cars met up, and the occupants of both cars started fighting. One kiddie, I say kiddie, only I think 17 years of age, pulled out a knife, stabbed another young lad. The lad died almost instantly, I think. The lad came home, the guy that stabbed the other lad, is in bed there. I think his sister, I think he's one of 4 or 5 kids, notices on social media that somebody's died, and I think a brother's name's being mentioned. She goes to wake her mum up and says, look, you need to wake such and such a body up. They're saying on social media that he's killed somebody. The mother wakes him up out of bed and says, please tell me you've not been fighting tonight. Yes, I have. Please tell me you've not carried a knife and stabbed somebody. Yes, I have. You've killed him. The kid is beside himself, if the stories are led to be believed to be true. Didn't know he'd killed him, but obviously shouldn't have stabbed him. The mother speaks to the son for a short time and then phones the police and said, I've got my son here. I think he's murdered somebody. You need to come and get him. Now, I did hear the recording on the TV when this was first brought out 2 or 3 months ago, I think I heard it. And I thought to myself, she sounded strange. I won't say what I thought she sounded like. It's derogatory, and I'm possibly wrong, at least judging by the story I read. But I've read a story about her, and many are saying that she's done right, shopping her son. Many are saying she's done wrong. Many are blaming the mother because he's one of 4 or 5 children and he's killed somebody, and they've said, well, it's always down to the parents. She's not been able to live in the family home for a number of weeks. She's gone back there now because they can't afford to live in hotels any longer, because they were living in cheap hotels and having to pay with all their own money, and the money's run out. She's got a few kiddies, as I say. I think she's had things daubed on the house and threats made, and I think another one of her sons has lost his job, and another one of her sons has been beaten up. My take on this is this. I mean, well, firstly, I read it. I felt extremely sorry for the mother, and I mean extremely sorry. If what I'm reading is to be believed, I've got a little sorrow for the son that committed the crime. If it's to be believed, because reading as I've read it, it says that he's extremely remorseful, didn't mean to do it, didn't know he'd done it, didn't want to do it, and feels awful for the child that he's taken the life of, and also for the parents. Don't get me wrong, before I go any further, I feel more sorry for the parents of the child that's been killed, much, much, much more sorry. And I cannot believe that in this day and age, people in this country are still walking around with knives. You know, it's not as bad as America, because there tends to be no guns around, or at least with young children, or not as many guns. There's very few of them. But knife crime is crazy, and it's getting worse. It's been with us for the last 15, 20 years, and it's definitely getting worse. And it's a worry, you know, and I can't believe any kids of 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 are carrying knives. It's crazy. Look, at the end of the day, you draw a knife, he draws a knife. Whether one of you draw a knife, you stick it in someone, there's every chance you're going to kill them. Even if you're going to kill them, you could cripple them, you could maim them for life. Nobody should be knifing nobody. But it's happening. So I feel extremely sorry for the bereaved parents, I really do. But my take on it now is what I read, and I'm more looking at the mother of the kiddie that's done it. And I feel, to be honest with you, I feel almost as sorry for the mother of the kiddie that's done it, because he's let her down. His life has no doubt changed, but her life has changed as well. The family's lives have changed. They're all in, turmoil. It's just, it must be awful. But I think she's been very brave to ring the police. Very, very, very brave. What I don't think people should be turning on her far as they would say dobbing him in, because there's been a lot of that. You know, I think probably most of us as parents would say, if my kid had killed somebody, I would let the police know. I think most would say that. I think the reality of it is probably, and I'm just guessing, it's surmising, it's nothing else, that's all it can be, I would guess probably 7 or 8 out of every 10 would say, well, if my kid had killed somebody, I'd tell the police. I think that would probably more likely be the number that wouldn't tell the police were it to happen. I think 7 or 8 out of every 10 wouldn't tell the police. They'd protect the children even though they'd know it would be wrong. I would definitely look at telling the police, and I believe, I hope to God it never happens, but should it happen, I would hope to God I would carry that out, because I can't have any of my children killing anybody, anything else. But the big thing I will say is, the big thing that came from the piece for me is, I am always one of those people that say it comes from the parents. Because I believe probably 95 times out of 100, if children do these dreadful things or do any dreadful things, it's normally because they've either seen it in the parents or not been brought up properly by the parents. And I've got to say, only from what I've read, I don't know any of the people within this story. I don't know the mother, I don't know the son, I don't know the child that's been killed, I don't know anybody. But looking at it from the outside and judging only on what I've read in the press, it doesn't seem the case to me that it's the mother's fault. It really doesn't seem. I mean, obviously the mother or father can't draw the knife and do the killing anyway if the son has done it. But I am often a believer that anything that the child does, it normally traces back to the parents. In this case, it doesn't seem the case. And the fact that she's actually shot a child, dobbed him in, bubbled him, whatever you want to say, would seem to enforce that, but I don't know. Anyway, your thoughts? What do you think? I've babbled on, but it's what I do. I just felt sorry for everybody. I felt sorry for, obviously, the child that's been killed. I felt sorry for the mother and father of the child that's been killed. I felt really sorry for the mother of the lad that's done the crime. And I feel a little sorry for the lad that's done the crime as well, if what I'm believing is true. I mean, he sounds extremely remorseful and wishes to goodness he hadn't done it. And I don't think that's just because he's in prison. I think it's also because he knows how it was wrong and he knows what he's done to that family. And I do think once his mum shot him, it gave him probably 20 minutes, half an hour till the police got there to do a runner and try to get away. He didn't do any of that. So that says a little about his... It just sounds awful me saying that, but it could have been even worse. He could have done a runner, he didn't. No. But the whole thing is it's a shame, it's shocking, but it's the world we're living, unfortunately, but it's not ideal.